I'm sure at some point in your professional life you've been looking at a spreadsheet and wondering if there's a formula that's going to calculate something for you. Perhaps you've got lots of lists of columns and you want to do some sort of VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP or what if analysis, etc. And you don't quite know the code for it. You know that it exists, you know what you want it to do, but Excel code, it's not particularly intuitive, it's not particularly ergonomic, it's not something that just naturally flows. So you have to do things the old-fashioned way. Even though you know that it's there, you've checked the directory, but you've tried using it, you don't know which values to add into it, etc. But with AI, you can now use natural language, so just talking to it as you would talk to someone else, as you would ask someone else a question. You can ask it to write the formula for you based on what you want it to do. And not only that, it will then give you a step-by-step guide of how to insert that formula into your spreadsheet, which values you need to put into it, and it will then work. And also, if your formula is broken, if there is a break in your formula in your spreadsheet, you can actually post that formula in and say, for some reason it's not working, why is it not working? And it will analyze it and audit it, and it will tell you why it's not working and how you can fix it. So lots of really useful tools here with AI and formulas in Excel. So take a look at this video and see if you find it useful.
Quick tip now of how you can use ChatGPT to create formulas to find specific dates, to find specific time periods and lateness, whether someone's on time, whether someone's behind. So in this example, we're using the example of learners and the predicted end date of their courses. But in a business setting, you might think of it as perhaps when invoices and expenses are due and how late they are and whether they're behind. Now, of course, there are softwares, accounting softwares that do often tell you this, but if you were trying to analyze this in a spreadsheet, it wouldn't immediately be apparent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you can use GPT to write a formula to determine whether or not something is late. So in this instance, it will be the learners on their courses, but for you, it could be bills that haven't been paid, etc. And also to show exactly how many days they are late by. And this will, of course, update so that every single day it will, in a sense, go up a day because it's now a day later. So I'm going to switch over to GPT to show you the prompt for the first thing, which is to show you whether or not something is late. And remember, this is going to be tied to this particular column here, column D. So I've got my prompt here. I have a list of learners and their predicted end dates of their courses. Please write a formula for me that returns a value of late if the predicted end date, that's in column D, is before today's date, and returns on track if it's after today's date. So just ask it to do that. And it's going to come up with a formula. It also breaks down the formula, explains how the formula works as well. So that's perhaps good for learning how Excel works in general, how formulas work in general. And what we'll do is we'll take that formula and we'll go back and post it in our spreadsheet. So we've got our learners, we've got our predicted end dates, post in there. We expect that this one is going to return a value of late, because, of course, the predicted end date was the 19th of August 2024, and it's a lot later than that now. So post that in, and we can see it is late. And repeat that for everything else. We see a lot of these are 2024, so a lot of them are behind. But if we scroll to the bottom where we've got people that are due to finish in the next month or so, we can see that they are still on track. They are not late. But of course, just knowing whether someone is late, whether someone is not late, isn't the full story, particularly if you were going to use this to identify bills and invoices and those sorts of things. You want to find out how late something is, because you perhaps want to know whether you need to write it off, whether you need to chase them up again. You're not going to send the bailiffs round because someone's a day late, but if they were 100 days late, you might. So what we can actually do is in this next column, we can put in a value of how many days something is late. And it's only going to populate if there's a late in this column here, but it will tell us exactly how many days are late. So we're going to go back to GPT now and put in our prompt for that. And we're keeping on the same sheet here so that it knows what I'm talking about. We've just used that already. So I've just asked it to write another formula that shows the number of days that a student is late by if they are late. And just as before, it writes us our formula and means it will return no value if they're not late, but return the number of days that they are late if they are. So we'll copy that and go back to the spreadsheet and post in our values. So as we can see, John Doe here is 176 days late, very far behind on his course. And you can see that they ascend in, just for demonstrative purposes, they are ascending in days at times. So this will descend. Jane Smith is 175, Alice Johnson is going to be 174, and so on. You can see how that all works, and if we scroll to the learners that were on track, we can see that they are not late at all. So it returns a 0 value. So again, something that you could do yourself in Excel, but it is a bit complicated, and again, it's not something that you would automatically know how to do necessarily, but really useful, really quick way of quite simply identifying whether someone is late or not, whether a bill is not being paid or not, and also being able to calculate just how many days. You can also edit that to be number of weeks, number of months, whatever it might be. You then might want to conditionally format this table as well and highlight it in red if it's over 100 days, and orange if it's 49 to 99 days, and yellow if it's 0 to 49 days, etc. Again, for ease of use. But in short, it's now something that you can actually look at. We can look at this and see, right, any student that's above 100 days, we're just going to say to them, you've got 1 month to finish your course. If not, we're going to remove you from our register. Those that are perhaps a few days late, we can send a reminder to say, you're now past your course time. Let's revisit your schedule. What can we do to get you finished as soon as possible? But in short, it's given us useful information that we can now use to make decisions.